Hello everyone, welcome to Marlin Chess Kids. Today I'll show you the gameplay by Maria and Henry, and this beautiful game complete in only 19 moves. And let's see how the game play. The game starts with the pawn to e4, c5, and knight c3, knight c6, then bishop to b5. And after this, knight to d4, and the knight is trying to attack the bishop. Then bishop to c4, and after this, the black play e6. Then knight g to e2. And g6 was played. And here in the first 5 moves, you can see that the white is better in this position. And the game continue with the knight takes d4 and c takes d4. Then the knight to b5, and the knight is attacking the pawn. And now the bishop to g7 to protect the pawn. And here it's quite surprised that the black allowed the knight to check, and the king will go for the uncastled strategy. And after the knight check, then the king will goes to e7. And in this position, you can see that the white has an edge only, and it still doesn't affect much to the black with the uncastled method. And the position is equal in this situation. After this, the knight to b5 was played. So another suggestion is, after this position, white can just capture the bishop, and this will be better for white. After this, the rook can capture back, then you can just play a b3, and here you have a slightly better for white. But in the actual game, knight b5 was played, and after this, a6 was played, and suddenly the situation for the black become better in this position. And now the knight need to force back to go to a3. Then now the black keep on the pressure by playing a b5, attacking the bishop. And now bishop need to back to b3. And here after this, the black continue to play a knight f6. Then e5 was played to attack the knight. And here the black moved the knight to d5. And here the center knight in the golden square have a very strong initiative and have many activity to play. And also the pawn at e4 can be captured with the bishop. After this, the bishop takes the knight, bishop takes d5, and the pawn takes d5. Then the queen to f3, attacking the pawn. And now, with one of the very interesting move that the black play is to play a rook to e8, and also we have attack pawn at e5, back to the position of f8 and do a manual castling by the black. So rook e8 was played, and after this, giving up another pawn, and the white queen capture the pawn. And you can see that after capture the pawn, and the situation is black is better. Why? And this is because the black has more initiative to attack. And after this, the black continue to play a king to f8, and so another suggestion you can play to maintain this position is that you can play a queen to b6 to prevent the queen check. And if the queen takes the rook, then the bishop to b7 and you trap the queen, for example. And this queen you have no place to move unless to capture the rook. So this is a trick that you can trap the queen at here. After this, c3 can be played to attack the pawn, and now the bishop takes e5, and here you cannot capture the pawn. If you capture the pawn, if you capture the bishop, the king will goes to f8 or d8, then it will be pinning the queen and win the queen. So after this position, king f8 was played, and now the queen captured the rook. Then the rook takes e5 and check the king. And after this, king to f1, then queen to e8, and preparing to go for the rook to e1 and checkmate. And the actual game after this, the black play a g3, and here after this position, d5 was played to block the queen, and the bishop can come to h3 and checkmate. And after queen to a7, here you have a mate in 2 with bishop to h3 check. And after this position, the white resign the game. And if the game to continue the king to g1, then you have a back rank checkmate, rook to e1 and checkmate. And back to the position at this. The other way to prevent this is to play a g4, and this will block the bishop to have the check at this position h3. And if you block with the d5, then the white can just play a d3, and if you continue to check, then you can just move the king to g2, and here the white has nothing to worry, and the white is clearly winning with the extra rook. And back to the position at d3. If you move after g4, if you move a d3, you can just capture the pawn, and after you move a d5, then you can just continue to move the knight to prevent the rook check. And if the rook with the bishop capture the g4 pawn, the queen will just go for the exchange, and after the exchange, you can see that the white is winning the extra rook and will be clearly winning. And back to the position of e8, and if you try to play a move such as f4 to attack the rook, and this also will be clearly winning for the black. And the black will just continue to check, and now king to f2, then the rook will just capture the rook. And if the queen try to escape, such as goes to f3, And here you have a very simple queen to e1 and checkmate. And here you have very amazing checkmate. And again, another example, if you place a move such as f3, the same happen as the rook will go to check, and if the king come up, then you can bring another queen to the action and check the king. And here you have a clearly winning and checkmate in 9. For example, if the king move to g3, then you can continue attack with the bishop and check the king. Bishop e5. After bishop to e5 check, then the king have already limited place to move. And if you take the king to h3, then you can just use the rook to capture, and the rook capture this one, it will be a checkmate as well. So let's say the white delay the check start by capturing the bishop, then the king will just go to g7, and if the queen just continue to check, you can just capture back. Then after this, you can just block the diagonal of the bishop, and you can use the bishop to continue to capture. And any move from the white, such as capture the pawn, you just use the rook takes h2, and you have this checkmate. And with this, thank you.